Okay, what we're going to try to remember now are the back shu and the front mu. I would like to add also here, plus the dew points. I feel like we may as well do them all together. And also plus the vertebrae. I mean, it comes up in exams all the time where you're trying to match the vertebra with the back shu, or the dew point with the vertebra. So why don't we just do it all together? Again, this is designed for exam, right? Exam idea. We can write this out, be very clear how we write it out, repeat it until it's extremely like second nature to us, and then we can just see an image in an exam, we know exactly what it is, and we nail it, right? So let's have a look. I want to do something similar to what I did in the first video. Let's have a look here. Back shu will be the main point here with front mu. I said I wanted to add the dew points. I also better put here, this is the organ, and actually on the other side here we're going to put the vertebra. So let's just write this out. Again, I recommend you draw your own columns. You're not going to get any columns in the exam, so you get used to doing that. We're going to start at the, and also what we should write here, this is what we call back shu order of organs, right? So I would start lung at the top here. I'm just going to drop down a little bit. I'll show you why in a moment here. So the organs, we're back shu order of organs, right? So let's do that. Lung, pericardium. I sometimes even write the back shu number here. Bladder 13, bladder 14, bladder 15 at the same time, because I know the back shu. I use it a lot in clinics, so I know the back shu quite well. And the spirit line or the second line of the back shu we can also write in here. Let's take our time here. So heart. Now we know 16 and 17, incredibly important back shu points clinically, but not used and linked to organs, so we can forget about them at the moment. And we can just put in here liver, 18, 19 is gallbladder, and 20 is the spleen. I work in groups of 6. I normally do kind of tend to leave a gap here. That's also relative to the other ones that I did in terms of leaving that gap there and continuing, because I write it all out on one piece of paper. If you just want to learn the back shu front mu, forget about what I just showed you, just focus on this. And then of course 21 is the stomach, 22 is bladder 22 is the triple energizer. I don't like SJ, I like TE as a reference. It's so different to SI or ST, too many combinations there. 23, big one, right? Kidney. So once we know 24, we don't actually link that to an organ, so we jump to 25, large intestine. 26 we don't need. 27 is small intestine, and 28 is the bladder. So I suppose we could think about, there's a couple of important things here. There are breaks that go on here, 25, think about around the large intestine, like a large intestine, like the transverse large intestinal colon there, right? Okay, so with the secondary line, you just, you can put a note here. It's just plus 29. I actually think of it just one less than this number. I know it's 40s or 50s, right? So 44, 42, right? 43, 44, you skip some here. This is just going to continue like 47, 48, 49. That's pretty straightforward, 50, 51. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, because 52 doesn't go to 53. 53 is actually down here, and we're going to see that in a moment and what that's linked to in terms of the vertebrae. The front mu points, let's do those. As a clinician, I know these very well. Sometimes I don't use the front mu as much, and sometimes it can get a little confusing for me, so it's really helpful for me to write these out. The lung is very easy to remember that it's lung 1. yeah, the front mu. CV17 for the pericardium, right in the center of the chest, the breastplate. You remember the regulator of the upper jiao, right in the center, and fourth intercostal space between the nipples there. Easy to remember. Now, there's a couple of keys here that will help you. There are 3 points here that I am linking to the number 4. I call them the 4s, right? Because heart, it's not so clear. 14, it's a little bit lower. CV14, the 4, right? Liver, 14, yeah? Gallbladder, 24. So they're all ending in 4. Remember, liver 14, remember liver 13 is actually the front mu of the spleen. You kind of just have to remember that. That's the free end of the 12th rib, sorry, the 11th rib, right? So remember, below the breast, which is stomach 18, we have in the 5th intercostal space, in this line, we have stomach 19. Then we have liver 14 in the 6th, and in the 7th we have gallbladder 24. Yeah. So this is kind of a tricky bit. Just remember, these 3 4s all match up. That'll remind you. In the stomach here, what we do is remember that the 2 and 1 just get flipped over. But we should remember, actually, because it's also an influential point here, CV12, yeah, is the mu point of the stomach. And here, what we're going to remember is another pattern of 3, and this time we're going to call it the 5s. Yeah. When you think of 5, you just put CV5. That's not an easy one to remember for the triple energizer, the Sanjiao. For the kidney, it's gallbladder, a tricky one, 25, which is actually, remember, on the free end of the last 12th rib, and it's more towards the back, actually right over the kidney area. So thinking about that's the tricky one, and it's linked to gallbladder 25. If you struggle with this, think about this is also going to be a 25, and many people know this point because it's a point that we needle quite a lot as well, which is stomach 25, yeah, anterior to the umbilicus, right? So let's continue on here. These are 3 5s, 4 4 4, 5 5 5, yeah. From CV5. I could even draw this in for you. From here we just go down. What do I mean? Small intestine, CV4. Bladder, CV3. Yeah, conception vessel 3. So I must point out here, conception vessel, Ren channel, whatever you'd like to use. You have to know all of these terminologies for the exam, in fact. So write it out how you like it. The numbers are going to say the same. Dew points. Now, the dews come up quite a lot. And let's think of the most easy way to remember that is probably linked to the kidney. What I mean is we know that is Ming Men, do 4. And what I want you to do is just write 3, 4, 5 there. Do 3, do 4, do 5. And they're linked to those. And we also know that this vertebra is going to be what? L2. Right? Second lumbar vertebra. At the base of that vertebra, we have the kidney shoe point, right? Bladder 23. Now, let's continue with the dews. 3, 4, 5. We go up here and we think of from the spleen up, we're thinking about 6, 7, 8. This would just continue up, but remember this is a gap here that we've done between the vertebrae here, which includes 9 and 10, and the heart becomes 11. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. We skip 1 and we go to 12 here. Now if we look at the vertebra here, you know, these are pretty easy actually, because remember that this is T3, which matches up with 13. This is T4, T5, but then we skip T6, T7, T8 are skipped. Remember T8's that lonely guy there. So T9, this is where we start to change a little bit. So do 8 is linked with T9. Right? Sometimes we don't think about it like that. With this chart, we can directly relate those things together. Yeah. T10, 10, T11. I actually remember this for clinical purposes. T11, the spleen, bladder 20, because I do it so often in clinic, and it's linked to bladder 49. Then we go to T12 here. We know there are 12 thoracic vertebrae. And then L1. Hey, look, we're right. We're correct here because we have a reference point L2. Now remember, L3 is 24, so L5. So L3, L4 is large intestine. L5 we skip, and this becomes sacral foramen 1 in line with sacral foramen 2 in line with. So now we can start to see that bladder 53 is in line with sacral foramen 2. That sometimes doesn't come clearly to us if we're just thinking about it in our heads, linking the bladder channel to the back shoe point, which links to the vertebra or links to the dew points. Now we have that. So if you want here, we can actually continue upward in terms of T2, T1. And we know C7 is linked to what? Well, we know C7 is linked to dew 14, and actually dew 13 is linked to T1. So we can actually even include those if you want. And then we've got most of the dew channel on the back covered. And we've got our front moves covered, we've got our back shoes covered, we've got how they're linked to the organs and all of the vertebrae. Incredibly helpful for an exam when you get in there and you can actually write that out, and then you can just refer to it and know with confidence that those answers are correct. Now remember, if you like, you can put all this on one page with these command points. Yeah, they go next to it, right? But there are just different ways. If you just want to learn it separately, that's also okay. Very good.